Have you ever felt like no one truly understands your depth, your independence, your fire? Like you're constantly being told to tone down who you are to make others feel comfortable? If so, you're not alone. And here's the thing. When a Sigma female walks into the room, she doesn't just turn heads. She shakes the very foundation of what people think they know about women, independence, and relationships. But what happens when a high-status man, your intellectual equal, steps into your orbit? Let me tell you, it's not what most people think. Today we're diving deep into 9 things high-status men do when they meet Sigma females, their intellectual match. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end because point number 8. It's the game changer. First, let's talk about you. You're not just any woman. You're a Sigma female, independent, self-sufficient, and unapologetically yourself. You don't crave validation or seek attention like the crowd. You're the kind of woman who can stand alone in a room full of people and still feel complete. But let's be real for a moment. Being this strong has its challenges, doesn't it? Society keeps telling you that the perfect relationship should be your ultimate goal, that you need someone to complete you. And yet, every time you try to settle for what's considered ideal, something inside you screams, "This isn't it." Why? Because your standards aren't just high, they're uniquely yours. You don't settle for surface-level connections. You need depth, intellect, and authenticity. And that's exactly why the way high-status men respond to you is so fascinating. 1. Here's the first thing you'll notice when a high-status man encounters a Sigma female. He doesn't come charging in with flashy bravado or some overused pickup line. Nope, that's not his style. Instead, he pauses, he watches, he genuinely takes you in. This isn't about hesitation or shyness, it's a calculated moment of respect and curiosity. Unlike others who feel the need to fill every silence with noise, a high-status man recognizes the power of observation. He's not intimidated by your independence or your ability to stand confidently in your own space. In fact, he's intrigued by it. It's rare for him to meet someone who doesn't immediately crave validation or seek his attention. And you're different. That difference is magnetic. This pause, this deliberate moment to step back and really see you, isn't about playing hard to get or some kind of dating strategy. It's about understanding that you're someone who deserves more than surface-level interaction. You're not impressed by charm that only scratches the surface. He knows that if he's going to approach you, he needs to do it in a way that's authentic and intentional, and before he can do that, he needs to understand who you are. Now, you might have noticed this behavior before without realizing its significance. Think about the times when you've been at a social gathering or out in public, and someone didn't rush up to you with obvious or rehearsed lines. Instead, they lingered, observing your mannerisms, your conversations, and your energy. They weren't trying to interrupt or impose themselves. They were studying you, not in a creepy or intrusive way, but in a way that communicated, "I see something unique here, and I want to understand it before I make a move." This kind of man doesn't fear strong women. He doesn't see your independence as a challenge to overcome or a problem to fix. Instead, he admires it. He respects it. He understands that a Sigma female is someone who commands attention not through loudness or seeking approval, but through her quiet confidence. And because of that, he knows that rushing in won't work. He has to earn his place in your world, not force his way into it. When he finally does approach, it's not with a need to impress you or show off. It's with a genuine interest in connecting with you on a deeper level. And that's the difference between a high-status man and others who rely on superficial charm to get their way. The high-status man values depth over immediacy, quality over quantity. So if you ever catch someone pausing, observing, and truly taking the time to see you before speaking, pay attention. That's not hesitation, that's respect. It's an unspoken acknowledgement of your strength and individuality. And for a Sigma female, that kind of approach isn't just refreshing, it's essential. If you're relating to this, drop a in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. 2. They match your energy, not dominate it. When a high-status man interacts with a Sigma female, one thing becomes clear. He doesn't try to overpower you or compete with your strength. Instead, he knows how to match your energy effortlessly and respectfully. This ability to align with you rather than overshadow or control you sets him apart from the rest. Think about the countless times you've dealt with people who either try to outshine you or dim your light to make themselves feel bigger. It's exhausting, isn't it? But a high-status man doesn't feel the need to play that game. He sees your confidence and independence not as a threat, but as a strength to be admired. Here's what's special. He adjusts to your vibe. If you're calm and reflective, he meets you in that space. He doesn't barge in with loud energy or try to disrupt the flow. Instead, he mirrors your composure, creating an environment where you feel seen and respected. On the flip side, if you're fired up and passionate about a topic, he doesn't shy away or downplay it. He dives right in, matching your enthusiasm and engaging in the conversation with genuine interest. This isn't about copying you or putting on a fake persona to impress you. It's about connection. He knows that true chemistry comes from being in sync, not trying to outdo one another. When you're with someone who matches your energy, it feels like you're finally speaking the same language. There's no tension, no awkward power struggle, just a natural flow that makes the interaction feel effortless. And let's be honest, you've probably encountered people who do the exact opposite. Those who feel the need to dominate every conversation, talk over you, or dismiss your ideas just to prove their own worth. With a high-status man, it's never about proving anything. He's secure in himself, and that confidence allows him to celebrate your strength rather than compete with it. This balance is incredibly refreshing, especially for a Sigma female like you. You're used to standing on your own and handling life with grace and independence, but having someone who doesn't try to overpower you, who instead complements and amplifies your energy, is a game changer. When you meet someone like this, you'll notice how easy it is to be yourself. You don't have to dim your light to make him feel comfortable, and you don't have to turn up the volume to be heard. He meets you exactly where you are, creating a dynamic that feels equal and empowering. So, the next time someone matches your energy instead of trying to dominate it, take notice. That's not just a coincidence, it's a reflection of someone who truly values and respects your strength. For a Sigma female, this kind of partnership isn't just rare, it's exactly what you deserve. 3. They value your mind over your looks. This one's a big deal. While many men might focus solely on appearances, high-status men approach things differently. For them, it's not just about how you look, it's about how you think, how you see the world, and the unique perspectives you bring to the table. They're captivated by your mind, and that's where the real magic happens. Let's be honest for a moment. Society has conditioned people to value women primarily for their looks. From magazine covers to social media filters, everything seems to scream that beauty is the ultimate measure of worth. But as a Sigma female, you know better. You've always felt that your intellect, your thoughts, and your ideas are your greatest assets, not just your appearance. And when a high-status man enters your life, he sees that too. Unlike the men who only skim the surface, high-status men dive deep. They'll engage you in meaningful conversations that stimulate your intellect. They'll ask thought-provoking questions, not because they're trying to impress you, but because they're genuinely interested in what you have to say. They want to understand how you see the world and what drives your passion. And here's the difference that matters most. They listen, truly listen. They don't just nod absent-mindedly or wait for their turn to speak. They're present in the conversation, taking in your words and reflecting on them. When you share your ideas, they don't dismiss or trivialize them. Instead, they respond with curiosity, building on what you've said and adding to the dialogue in a way that feels collaborative and inspiring. Think about how refreshing that is. How often have you been in situations where people focus more on your appearance than your thoughts? It's frustrating, isn't it? But when you're with a high-status man, the connection feels different. You realize that he values you for who you are, not just how you look. That's not to say he won't appreciate your physical beauty. Of course he will. But what sets him apart is that he understands beauty fades, while intellect and character last. He knows that a true connection isn't built on superficial attributes, but on depth, understanding, and mutual respect. And let's not forget how empowering this is for a Sigma female. You're someone who thrives on intellectual stimulation. You love deep conversations, exploring new ideas, and challenging traditional ways of thinking. When someone values your mind, it feels like they're seeing the real you, not just the image you project to the world. So, when you encounter a man who prioritizes your thoughts over your appearance, take note. That's someone who understands what truly matters. For a Sigma female, this kind of connection isn't just rare. It's the foundation of the intellectual and emotional partnership you deserve. Loving these insights? Hit that like button and stick around. Point 4 might just blow your mind. Point 4. They respect your boundaries. One of the most remarkable things about high-status men is that they don't push. They understand something that so many others seem to miss. Your independence is not a challenge to be overcome. It's a fundamental part of who you are, and they respect that. When they interact with a Sigma female, they don't try to control, manipulate, or suffocate her. Instead, they give her the space she needs to thrive, and they never take it personally. Think about how rare this is. In a world where so many people equate closeness with control, it can feel like everyone is trying to invade your boundaries. Whether it's constant texts, unsolicited advice, or the subtle pressure to conform to their expectations. You've probably experienced it all, and each time it's left you feeling drained and misunderstood. But a high-status man is different. He doesn't see your boundaries as walls keeping him out. He sees them as a reflection of your self-awareness and strength. He knows that your independence isn't about rejecting others. It's about maintaining a sense of self in a world that often demands conformity. This respect for your boundaries isn't just polite, it's powerful. It shows that he's secure in himself and doesn't need to control you to feel validated. He doesn't interpret your need for space as a personal rejection. Instead, he views it as a healthy part of a balanced and mature relationship. He understands that giving you room to breathe, think, and be yourself only strengthens the connection between you. Let's break this down further. When you tell a high-status man that you need time alone to recharge, he doesn't respond with guilt trips or passive-aggressive remarks. He doesn't make you feel bad for needing something that's fundamental to your well-being. Instead, he respects it, and not just with words, but with actions. He gives you the time and space you need without hovering or checking in excessively. This level of understanding creates a sense of safety. You don't have to constantly explain yourself or justify your choices. He gets it. And more importantly, he gets you. Now, let's contrast this with the behavior of those who don't respect boundaries. You've likely encountered people who see your independence as a challenge, a puzzle they're determined to solve, or a fortress they want to break into. They push too hard, demand too much, and leave you feeling overwhelmed. Their need to control stems from their own insecurities, not from a place of genuine connection. But a high-status man operates on a completely different level. He knows that true connection isn't about control, it's about balance. He recognizes that a Sigma female doesn't need someone to complete her. She needs someone who complements her. And respecting your boundaries is a crucial part of that dynamic. By giving you the space to be yourself, he shows that he values you for who you are, not for what you can provide or how you can fit into his life. He admires your independence and sees it as one of your greatest strengths. And in doing so, he creates an environment where trust and mutual respect can flourish. For a Sigma female, this kind of respect is transformative. It allows you to let your guard down, not because you're forced to, but because you want to. When someone respects your boundaries, it feels like they're saying, "I see you, I understand you, and I'm here to support you, not control you." So the next time someone doesn't push, doesn't pry, and doesn't make you feel like you have to explain your need for independence, pay attention. That's the mark of a high-status man who understands the value of respect and the power of giving you the freedom to simply be yourself. For a Sigma female, that's not just refreshing, it's essential. Point 5. They don't play games. Here's one thing you'll immediately notice about a high-status man. He doesn't play games. No mind tricks, no guessing games, no cryptic texts designed to keep you on edge. He's direct, honest, and refreshingly straightforward. When he's interested, he'll let you know, plain and simple, without resorting to manipulation or unnecessary drama. For a Sigma female, this kind of approach feels like a breath of fresh air. You've already dealt with enough people who've tried to toy with your emotions, people who think mind games are the key to creating intrigue or keeping someone hooked. But let's be real, those games don't work for someone like you. You're not interested in shallow tactics or confusing signals. You see through them almost instantly, and honestly, you don't have the patience for it. High-status men understand this. They don't rely on games to hold your attention because they don't need to. Their confidence comes from within, not from trying to make you chase them. They know that authenticity and honesty are far more attractive than any power play could ever be. When a high-status man is interested in you, he doesn't make you second-guess his intentions. He won't text you at random intervals to keep you wondering if he's interested. He won't purposely hold back his feelings to create a false sense of mystery. Instead, he'll be upfront. He'll tell you how he feels, what he's looking for, and where he stands. And you know what? That kind of clarity is incredibly empowering. This isn't to say he rushes into things or overwhelms you with too much too soon. His honesty is balanced with respect for your boundaries and the pace you're comfortable with. He's not trying to force a connection or pressure you into anything. He simply believes in being real with you because he knows you deserve nothing less. For a Sigma female, this level of straightforwardness is almost surprising at first. You're so used to dealing with people who play games, whether it's out of insecurity, immaturity, or a need for control, that experiencing directness can feel like a shock. But it's a good shock. It's the kind of honesty that makes you feel safe, seen, and respected. When someone doesn't play games with you, it sends a clear message. They value your time, your energy, and your intelligence. They're not here to waste any of it. They're here to build something real, and they know that authenticity is the only way to make that happen. So, when you meet a man who skips the drama, pay attention. He's not afraid to be vulnerable or transparent because he's secure in who he is. For a Sigma female, this kind of connection is more than refreshing. It's exactly what you need. You don't have time for games, and with a high-status man, you'll never have to play them. Instead, you'll find yourself in a dynamic built on trust, honesty, and mutual respect. And really, isn't that what we're all searching for? Point 6. They challenge you in a good way. Here's a refreshing twist. A high-status man isn't someone who just nods along with everything you say to keep the peace. He's not a people pleaser, and he's definitely not afraid to challenge you. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about being combative or argumentative. It's about pushing you to see things from a new perspective, encouraging you to grow, and creating an intellectual connection that goes far beyond surface-level small talk. As a Sigma female, you thrive on deep conversations. You're not interested in shallow chatter or people who simply agree with you for the sake of agreement. You crave intellectual stimulation, and a high-status man understands that. He knows that your sharp mind and unique worldview aren't just strengths. They're things that deserve to be explored, challenged, and expanded. When he challenges you, it's not about proving he's smarter or trying to one-up you. That's not his style. Instead, he'll ask questions that make you pause and think. He'll introduce new ideas or perspectives that may not have crossed your mind before. And even when he disagrees with you, he does so with respect. He's not here to argue for the sake of arguing. He's here to grow with you, to exchange ideas, and to build a connection that's rooted in mutual respect and curiosity. This dynamic is powerful because it pushes you out of your comfort zone in the best way possible. A high-status man sees your potential and isn't afraid to encourage you to reach for it. He'll support your dreams, but he'll also ask the tough questions. What's holding you back? Have you thought about this differently? Why not aim even higher? His challenges are never about tearing you down, they're about lifting you up. And let's face it, this is rare. You've probably met people who either agree with everything you say to avoid conflict, or people who challenge you in a way that feels dismissive or condescending. Both are exhausting. But when a high-status man challenges you, it feels like he's meeting you as an equal. He respects your intelligence and wants to engage with you in a way that's stimulating and fulfilling. This kind of interaction creates a space where you can be fully yourself while also evolving. He inspires you to think more deeply, see more clearly, and grow more fully. And because he's secure in himself, he's open to being challenged by you too. He's not afraid to admit when you've made a great point or changed his perspective. It's a two-way street, built on trust, respect, and the shared goal of becoming better together. So when you meet someone who challenges you, not to compete, but to help you grow, take note. That's a sign of a high-status man who values your mind and sees your potential. For a Sigma female, this kind of dynamic isn't just engaging, it's exactly the kind of connection that sparks lasting growth and mutual respect. Because at the end of the day, true chemistry isn't about agreeing on everything. It's about pushing each other to be the best versions of yourselves. Ready for more? Let me know with a fire in the comments. Point 7. They support your ambitions. Here's something truly special about a high-status man. He doesn't see your ambitions as a threat. He doesn't get uncomfortable when you talk about your big goals or downplay your achievements to make himself feel better. Quite the opposite. He sees your dreams as a reflection of your strength, your individuality, and your determination to carve out a life that aligns with your values. For a Sigma female, this kind of support is priceless. You've likely encountered people who felt intimidated by your drive, whether they showed it openly or masked it behind subtle discouragement. Maybe they dismissed your goals as unrealistic, or perhaps they made you feel like pursuing your ambitions would somehow jeopardize your relationships. But a high-status man operates on a completely different wavelength. He's secure enough in himself to celebrate your strength without feeling overshadowed by it. When you share your dreams with him, he listens with genuine interest. He doesn't interrupt, minimize, or try to redirect the conversation to himself. Instead, he asks thoughtful questions, offers encouragement, and shows a real desire to understand what drives you. It's clear that he's not just listening to be polite. He's invested in your success and wants to see you thrive. And here's the best part. He's not just a cheerleader, he's a partner. If you need advice, he'll offer it in a way that feels supportive, not condescending. If you hit a roadblock, he'll brainstorm solutions with you or simply remind you of your resilience. And when you achieve a win, big or small, he'll celebrate with you wholeheartedly. There's no jealousy, no bitterness, no sense of competition, just pure pride in seeing you succeed. Why is this so rare? Because many people struggle to support others without feeling like they're losing something themselves. They see someone else's success as a reminder of their own shortcomings, and that insecurity seeps into their relationships. But a high-status man doesn't think that way. He knows that you're... Finally, let's talk about what might be the most important thing a high-status man does when he meets a Sigma female. He doesn't try to change you. He doesn't come into your life with the intention of molding you into someone else or making you fit into his vision of the perfect partner. Instead, he admires you for exactly who you are, flaws, quirks, and all. For a Sigma female, this is everything. You've worked hard to build your sense of self. You've embraced your independence, your individuality, and the traits that make you uniquely you. But let's be honest, so many people struggle to accept that. They might say they admire your strength and independence, but when it comes down to it, they try to tweak you, fix you, or tone you down to fit their expectations. A high-status man is different. He doesn't see your independence as a challenge to his ego or your quirks as something that needs to be managed. Instead, he celebrates all the little things that make you stand out. Whether it's your bold opinions, your quiet confidence, or the way you light up when talking about something you're passionate about, he values every part of you. What makes this so powerful is that it creates a space where you feel truly seen and accepted. You don't have to put on a mask or downplay your strengths to make him feel more comfortable. You can be your unfiltered, authentic self because he loves that version of you. Let's take it a step further. He doesn't just tolerate your independence, he celebrates it. He doesn't view your desire for space or time to yourself as a rejection. Instead, he understands that it's part of what makes you thrive. He's not intimidated by the fact that you don't need him to complete you, because he knows that true connection isn't about dependency. It's about partnership. This kind of acceptance isn't just rare, it's life-changing. Think about how many times you've had to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's expectations. Maybe you've held back your opinions to avoid conflict, downplayed your achievements to protect someone's ego, or even suppressed your dreams because someone didn't believe in them. With a high-status man, all of that falls away. When you're with someone who lets you be you, it feels like freedom. You don't have to explain yourself or constantly defend your choices. You don't have to hide your flaws or pretend to be something you're not. Instead, you get to show up fully, knowing that you're loved and appreciated for everything you are, strengths, flaws, quirks, and all. For a Sigma female, this is the ultimate match. Someone who doesn't just admire your independence from a distance, but embraces it fully. Someone who sees your quirks as endearing, your strength as inspiring, and your individuality as the very thing that makes you extraordinary. This acceptance creates a foundation of trust, respect, and love that allows both of you to thrive as individuals and as a team. It's not about one person overshadowing the other or trying to change them. It's about walking side by side as equals, supporting each other without ever losing your sense of self. So, when you meet someone who lets you be unapologetically you, who loves your quirks and celebrates your independence, hold on to them. That's the kind of connection that every Sigma female deserves, and it's proof that when the right person comes along, you don't have to compromise who you are to make it work. You get to be fully you, and that's where the magic happens. So, there you have it. 8 ways high-status men rise to the challenge of being with a Sigma female like you. But here's the takeaway. The right person won't make you feel like you need to shrink yourself to fit into their world. They'll meet you at your level and help you grow together. If you've ever experienced this, or if you're waiting for someone who truly understands you, let me know in the comments. I love reading your stories. And if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Your support inspires me to keep creating content just for you, my Sigma sisters. Remember, your strength, independence, and authenticity are your superpowers. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise.